Hello everybody, my name is Mike Langford. Welcome back to the channel. I'm a recording engineer, music producer, and mixer based in Toronto, Canada, and this is Let's Mix Live, where I live stream some mix sessions in Pro Tools, start to finish, warts and all, showing you many different ways we can make our music sound great these days. Also, not here to show you what you should do, but what you could do. In case you're wondering where I get these sessions from, in particular, we're working on Candlebox's Happy Pills. Where can I get that? There's a website called Cambridge Music Technology. It's a fantastic resource for mixers, new and experienced. But also, if you're a recording engineer, I highly recommend checking it out. You get full multi-track sessions, tons of different genres there. It's very helpful and useful being able to look at these sessions, to hear the sounds they got, and also to hear some mixes to hear where they were able to get it to. So I think it's fantastic. Again, Cambridge Music Technology. The details will be below if you're watching on YouTube. Can't recommend enough. Wish I had that when I was a youngin'. Right about the age of 27 now, but when I was young, I wish I had access to that. Jumping back into the session here where we left off last time. It's a live session from Candlebox. There's two songs up there. There's Happy Pills and there's Surrender or Surround. There's another one up there which is also good, which I've already kind of shortlisted to work on that one at some point. But I wanted to up the tempo a little bit. Ep.7. 7 songs so far. Patterson's here. How's it going, Patterson? Only thing we've done so far is we brought back our 1 kilohertz test tone so we can test our levels here. So bit of a warning too. Again, the disclaimer. While I'm mixing, sometimes I'm sweeping around frequencies, so be mindful of your own listening levels on your headphones or on your monitors or your line array PA system in your basement. You know who you are. So without further ado, just check the 1 kilohertz test tone in 3, 2, 1. Oh, that sounds good. Sounds good. Hopefully you enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. I'm just going to select both of those, right click and hide and make inactive. And it's about this point in the show that I remember that I forgot again to try to figure out there's an app or a widget or something where I can make it so I can see the key commands. That is my goal between now and the end of the year. We're a week and a half into April, but that's my goal between now and 2023. To make sure I have that. So where we leave off last time, I opened up the wrong session. That's the other thing too. It never helps when you bring up the wrong session. I'm just gonna do one of those. I usually have my sessions set up so that they go from newest to oldest, and I just grabbed the one that was at the top, and that was the mix master one. So we'll just do a quick restart here. And there we go. The magic of real-time editing. Okay, so apparently we were carving the snot out of something before we left. What is this? What is that? That's the overhead microphone there. Or microphones, because it is stereo. So this looks a bit better. The thing that I should have clued into when I opened up that session is not having the master fader there. Because I just keep the default colors on everything. So the master is red, auxes are green, and audio tracks are blue, and instruments are orange. So should have noticed that. And again, just had dinner with my lovely wife, cleaned up the kitchen, chatted for a minute, and then it was one of those like, I gotta go to work. So where did we leave off? I have my notes. I don't have too much on it. I know that we didn't do anything really to our main mix bus over here. There's some throws I wanted to try to add in a couple spots. Sound replace or trigger our toms here. I was going to manually gate them, but I don't think that's what I actually want to do, because I don't think the toms sound that good. And that's not nothing against the drummer. It's nothing against the microphones or the engineer or anything. Sometimes toms just don't sound very good when you're hitting them in real time. So I wanted to trigger those, and when we get there, I don't think we'll get there today, but I wanted to do a clean version because I went on this big I got on my internet soapbox and was talking about if you don't need to add sentence enhancers into your lyrics, then you should probably not do that. And then I had one with 2 or 3 power words in that section there. So I was wanted to talk about doing a clean version. So we might make that part of its own episode where we go through and how to a couple different ways we can edit out our Sailor talk. So I'm going to listen through from the top. I might, if I can remember, which again, we're learning my memory is not the best, even in the moment. So if we're going through again, I might try to put some markers in because markers help it helps easily to be able to break up the different sections of the song. But also just when you're mixing, sometimes you get to your chorus and there's some obvious automation things you want to do. So without further ado on that, I'm actually going to save a new mix prep here. Are we really only in mix prep 1? Okay, now I'm curious. Now I'm super curious here. Give me 1 second. There's some weirdness going on here. Because this is mix prep 1, and why is that at the top? This is what today is, I think. All right, let's go mix prep 3, because usually mix prep 3 should be different than 1. Let's see what that's gonna do. I will remember to put the. Now that looks really weird. Well, let's look at that, because mix prep 3 looks like it should be the most normal one. So I don't know. That's where we left off. We'll have a listen and see, because usually when you do things sequentially in numerical order, usually the highest number, if you're counting up, should be your most recent one. So I don't know why mix prep 1 was at the top of the list when I did that the other way. So whatever, let's just go from there and hear what's happening. I think that looks good. We did the bass distortion. Remember that? So we're messing around with that. Guitar stuff. Okay, a lot of that looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks normal. Okay, all right. This is the proof in the pudding of, like, I really haven't done anything to this since we signed off on the on Thursdays, because we're here Mondays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. So, all right, I'm gonna have a listen through and hear where we're at, and I'll do my best to not touch the faders when we're listening through this. I'm gonna just check one more thing here. Just gonna bring that back up. This just looks different because of how. Yeah, no, that looks fine. That looks fine. Let's go back to 3. It's one of the upsides. Those M1 Mac Minis, they're pretty fast. Also, one of the major downsides of them is sometimes they just crash. Sometimes they crash pretty hard too. You just get like a weird screen is what it is. So let's have a listen through this. I've got my trusty notepad here. Never leave home without it in my writing utensil. So you'll listen through. I'll be quiet, and I might put some markers in on the go too. So this is Happy Pills by Candlebox, and it's freaking awesome. Sometimes you wait to see yourself. Take happier pills. Happy Pills by Candlebox. I think this track rips. As you can see, I made some notes. Well, you can't see because it's down here. I made some notes. But I also got in one marker for the second chorus. So I might listen through one more time just to put some markers in. That helps me. But things I wanted right now, guitars sound like garbage to me. So we just got to get fresh ears on that. I was playing drums a lot on Thursday, so knew the top end was going to be a bit funny for me. The main mix bus, excuse me. I usually have my compressor, have my EQ, have saturation, have a widener, and then have an L2 or just some type of limiter at the end there, so we can start building that later on. Probably be an hour and a half, 2 hours tonight. Mess around with the bass tone a little bit, trigger the toms and the vocal throws. And there's a couple spots in particular I need to do, or I feel I need to do some automation on some of the vocal stuff because we can change the texture on this little breakdown section right here. Nope, that's yelling.
I'll be the one who
This part.
I'll be the one who holds you.
There's something else we can do there, and then also the little ad lib here. Like even something like that, we can take the delay off there and just make it its own little background thing. So I'll listen through one more time because, the song's just not very good. So we can listen through it one more time. I got some markers in. I'm just joking. The song's awesome. That is our intro. Because again, it's in 6/8 and they come in on 4. I think it's amazing still. Lead is. I'm just hitting enter on the number pad to bring up the markers. Verse 1. Also, being in grid mode puts it right on the bar and the beat. If you're in slip mode, it'll put exactly where you drop it, but if you put in grid mode, it'll snap to the grid. It's kind of the pre-chorus. Chorus. Second verse. Try to grab that pre-chorus too. Second chorus, we got that last time. This is kind of the second section of the solo.
I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one to hold you under every time I see you slip.
Let's call that the bridge. And third chorus. I don't type in chorus. I think we can figure it out by just the first letter. Outro / riff. And then we're out there. I usually just put in a blank marker at the end where the fade out should be done, and just kind of listen kind of in my brain, figure out where it should naturally fade out. We can probably skip the 4 count into the 6/8 off the top as well. Let's just do one of these. We'll just break that, mute that, and then zoom in, and then we'll do a little bit of this. And then let's do a little bit of a fade there. Try to bring this back. Maybe we can bring this closer. There we go. Because like we're really impatient these days. We want to hit play. We want to hear the song instantly. Patchen's saying he's got his motherboard issues, watching on his phone. Hopefully your phone holds up, Patterson. It's a lot of pain. A lot of pain right now with computers. I'm feeling the computer pain right now because my keyboard on my, if anyone's noticed, on my MacBook Pro beside me, there's an elevated keyboard because keys R, T, Y, U, I, and O are no longer functioning. And apparently there's a recall on keyboards. But I have an older MacBook Pro, so I don't know if I'm going to get that. But it was just funny because I was trying to like, it got to the point where I was like copying when I didn't have another keyboard to plug into it. I was copying letters from stuff and pasting it in because, you know, Command C, Command V was still working. So, feeling your pain in the technical aspects of life right now. Let's start somewhere where I can keep the headphones on for a little bit. Let's head down to the land of Toms down here. What's going on over here? Oh, I just didn't add the extra little bit on that. No one caught that. I guess it was a test. Okay, so toms 1 through 3. So there's 1 rack tom, there's 2 floor toms. So let's do this method here where we're going to add 3 tracks. I label my triggers or any samples we're using. Patterson's saying the best Candlebox albums, Lucy. I'm not familiar with album names. I just know some of the songs to hear them. I'm one of those music fans. So I label my triggers or my samples. I usually just put a little underscore, and then I put those underneath the track. So this one's going to be Tom 2. This one's going to be Tom 3. And we'll just put those underneath. I was going to manually gate all this stuff, but I decided, you know what? That's probably not what I would actually do these days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find a sample that looks pretty good, kind of by itself if I can. So we'll just go to the tom track here. No. It's better. Don't like that one either. There we go. I like that one. Oh, and I just didn't have tab to transient on. I think it's over here. Yeah. So what I want to get from this, so you tab to transient, so we're just at the beginning of the transient here. I just want to grab a little sample of it there. Because we have edit keyboard, focus on a bunch of the keys on the keyboard, our hotkeys, and go back to the beginning. Put our sample there, and just good measure, quick fade in, quick fade out, and then double click, and then Shift Option 3. That's going to consolidate it. So now we've made a little sample here. So all we're doing is triggering off of this sound for when we're using trigger 2. We could put trigger 2 on this track and then try to fuss with it, or we can just actually grab when we're actually hitting the tom. There's just 2 there. This is like, in my mind, going to help quite a bit, and it usually does, just to get the attack out of the toms. Trigger 2 is awesome if you're not familiar. It's a really easy way to lay in some samples, and you can tune the samples within the with a plugin. See, little hits like that. Like that sounds really soft on the recording, but we can add a little bit of attack to that. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. Yeah, no, this is the last couple of weeks. There's been some, I don't want to say there's been some highs and lows, but there's been some definite weird lows. Between Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins, and the slap. Just don't want any more that stuff going on. I'm good for a bit. That being said, Leafs are on tonight. Says they're starting at 7. Box score is not updated yet. Austin Matthews, I think, is at 58 goals, which is a lot if you're not a hockey fan. So there's a little hit here as well. We wouldn't hear that. So I think we've got all those. So let's go to the next time. We don't even need to really get a different sample to do the other toms. Someone at home is probably freaking out right now, but like you really don't, because we're just triggering off of these sounds. So we'll go to the second one. Again, not what you should do, what you could do. That tom sounds better. I really hope it's not a 14-inch floor tom. They are my least favorite of the tom varieties out there. It never seems to... I've never been able to tune 14-inch toms to anything that I think sounds decent. It's like 10, 12, 16, and we're good. I said before, too, the perfect amount of toms for recording purposes is 2. Unless you're one of those drummers that has like 6 toms and they use all of them. But if you have 3 toms, I'm just not sure. Not sure you need them. If you think you need them, and you're watching on YouTube, feel free to put it in the comments below. And just put in the comments, I need them. And I'll know what you're talking about. Okay, this little triplet here, we'll fuss around with that when we get there, because it's probably going to sound pretty triggery. That too. There we go. This kind of stuff too, if you're engineering or producing or all of the above, which is the case for a lot of people these days. This is the stuff when the band is watching you do these things. They're trying to stay interested, like things are going on that they actually care about, but they're like, wow, this is really boring. Or someone in the band's like wondering why it wasn't played better or why it wasn't recorded properly. And you're just like, nope, this is kind of like what we do these days. So just wait till we get to your guitars or your bass or your vocals. You don't want to be around for that. Drums take a while though. There's a lot of little fussy things we can do for drums to make them sound better. And as I picked up from one of my mentors, better is better. It's hard to argue with that. Okay, we're getting close here to this being done, and I can stop verbally padding the program. Okay, so we have these samples put in, so let's take tab to transient off. It's up here, and we'll go back to the first tom that's here, and we'll just kind of make sure nothing's too off about it. So we're just looking at the phase relationship between these two. California's here, so they all drift off. What are you talking? Oh, the bands. When you start editing? And we'll just nudge that one over a little bit. I will say, like, the invention, or not say the invention, but the evolution, that's the word I'm looking for. The evolution of the cell phone has probably shaved a lot of those little creature comforts, entertainment things that bands and artists needed to kind of keep them out of the control room and like keep them watching movies or playing video games or whatever. The evolution of the cell phone definitely cut down on things that you needed to have in the lounge for creature comforts. I remember there was a time too, I think it was early 2000s, where like everyone, in mid 2000s, everybody just played poker. Everyone was playing online poker. And I was like, wow, are you like, I kind of like half jokingly, it was me thinking like, hey, are you winning yet? Or like, is this worth money? Or is this just instead of playing World of Warcraft, you're playing, poker online. So I don't know, like that helped though. It helped kind of keep people's attention away from either annoying people or being distractions. They're just sitting quietly. Oh, the other one too, Tinder. Don't want to out anybody, but it's one of those things like watching people just swiping away in their spare time. And they're waiting around. That being said, too, if they're on Tinder, it's like they probably have a really good opening line. Someone's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just finishing up work." "What are you doing?" "Oh, I'm just hanging out in the studio." Just at the studio. I always loved hearing that too. Like they're always at the studio. It's like you're here one day a month, or like you're here for 3 days this month, just at the studio, like you're just at the grocery store. Anyways, end rant on that. Just tightening up some of the, again, I just look at the first kind of the complete waveform here, making sure it's kind of lining up a little bit. That could be a segment on the Dear Bands channel. Shameless plug. Where I just talk about like the evolution of like part of my experience, but also with some other producers, their experience of like the evolution of how bands and artists entertain themselves in the studio when they're not recording. I think that could be funny. All right, we got just the tom. This is the floor tom number 2 down here. There we go. And this. So we're using the same sample on all this stuff. We're not even using the floor tom sample to trigger off of, because it really doesn't matter that much. And if you feel it matters, then in the comments below on YouTube, say it matters. All right, we've zoomed in too far. I really got to get that app that shows on the screen when I'm hitting hotkeys. California says, I'd watch it. I'm curious. I do want to get some of the Dear Bands interviews back up, but I got a couple of other ideas that I wanted to explore. It's just this year, like, it's so cliche that time is flying by, but it like really sunk in. Excuse me, at the end of March, where it's just like, wow, we're already kind of out of Q1 of this year. So, all right, so next thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna not even know what that is. Save track preset. Don't want to do that. Again, my rules for mixing this stuff, I don't bring any templated stuff over, but I can use presets. Presets are fine. California's saying it matters. Well, I don't think it matters. We're just triggering off of them. I can never find where this is. That's why we search. There we go. And just mono. It's fine. I'll just, I think I've got some standard ones here. Main rock T1. There we go. Let's see what that one sounds like. Again, we can tune these. And like I've said it before, like I'm not precious about some of this stuff. If it's going to sound like a drum, it's going to sound like a drum. I know I'm going to get some drummers eventually getting mad that have like 4 different kick drums and 20 different snare drums. I hear you. And I know they make different boom, clomp, slam, and boof sounds, but for the most part, we're just needing to get the attack from this. So let's listen to the main tom here. There's that ring that's there too. Again, you can gate these things. I'm just going to put it in loop playback. So Shift Command L, I do believe. Yes, it is, because you can see up here, little loopy button. That actually sounded kind of musical, so I'm going to leave that. So that ring that's there the whole time, like that's something that would annoy me. It's going to sit in your track, so you can manually gate it. You could use an actual gate. So Patterson's got to go. He can't hold the phone for extended period. See you later, Patterson. All the best. Good luck with getting the technology sorted out. Just want to tune this because I can hear a little bit of a warble between the two. There we go. That sounds pretty good. I'm just going to make the tail a little bit longer on this. That sounds pretty good. Okay, so that's the first tom sorted out there. So let's just go ahead and bring another one over here. So we'll just drag that over. Let's go for the tom 3, because these are 2 floor toms. So let's go to tom 3 and hear what it sounds like. Hear how off it is. And let's go down to this. Are there any single hits? Any singles out there? There's the triplet. It's a lot of deuces. All right, I think these two look pretty good. Don't get as many MC calls as I used to. All right, so that sounds pretty good. Just gonna turn it up. That's pretty beefy. Let's go to the second tom here. Just making sure that didn't mess up anything. It's that dip down on the tone at the end. I can buy that. Oh, no, I can't. I think that's better. All right, I can buy that one. Let's drag this down. So let's hold option. Drag that down to the third one. And we'll have a listen here. This one we might need the thicker of the toms. Or just pitch this one down. Like even hitting that, like it sounds pretty bad. And the sad thing is I'm not sure how much the drum kit costs, but like sometimes drum kits, let's have a real talk here. Sometimes drum kits get really expensive. And sometimes when they're recorded, they don't sound that good in real time. They sound great when you're tuning them and when you're putting a microphone on it and you're just smacking, really smacking some sense into it during sound check, but in real time, during game time, game speed of playing, sometimes that's what it sounds like. And it really stings when, drum companies charging you $1,700 for a 16-inch floor tom. Not saying that's what this is or what it costs or that's what the company was charging. But the manufacturer suggested retail price of it might be crazy expensive for some of these drums. But that's what it sounds like sometimes when you're actually playing it like for realsies. So close enough. Well, for me, it's close enough. Possibly a hot tip here. One of the things I like too about Trigger, Stephen Slate's Trigger 2 to be exact. One of the things I like about it is you can mess with the ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release. Not so much the decay, as the decay is missing, but one of the things I like about it is you can mess with the attack so you can really soften the initial transient. So the amount of attack the actual sample has. So if we just bring this up. Like we can really soften it. So I find that very useful for kick drums and snare drums. So if something's sounding a little bit clicky or a little bit too sampley, you can just soften that a little bit. But kick drums, snare drums for sure. Tom sometimes as well if it's jumping out a bit much. So let's kind of match up our panning we had on these toms here. Again, we have a rack tom and we have two floor toms. When we're looking at the drum kit, the rack tom's probably somewhat in front of the drummer, just a smidge, maybe 11 o'clock to their left if you're sitting on the drums. And then your floor tom's probably at, let's say, not 3 o'clock, but maybe 2 o'clock, and the other floor tom's maybe at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. It depends on how far off to the side it is for your setup. But the way we mix it, it's like that rack tom, we put it off to the side just to make it a little bit, increase the stereo image. So another one of those things that when you really think about it, we're already lying to ourselves right out of the gate with how we actually record things. So you can get on the case about adding samples or auto-tune, stuff like that. But even things like toms, they're not panned like that in real life. We're faking it. So let's just look at the drums here. So we'll just, we have some rebalancing to do here as well. There's just, it's one of those things where when you're mixing, sometimes you'll spend, some students mentioned this, my class on Saturday, where like you're working away on something and you're like, I still don't think this sounds very good. And that's okay, because you'll hit a point where it'll just kind of come together. You'll spend hours kind of fussing with it. And then there's that 15 minutes where like the balance feels good and you feel like on the right track. So lots to do. So I just muted everything else. We just have our drums here. I just want to rebalance it a little bit. I love the snare drum on this track. Okay, I know I just wanted to rebalance the drums, but I'm gonna throw a sample on the kick drum too, because I'm just curious. So let's go over, because we should be able to actually trigger right off of the kick drum that's there. So, because it looks pretty good. I could throw samples on all this, but it's looking pretty good. So I'm just going to look at that. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit louder and pick that. And I'll just grab that one. Just curious. See if we can get a little bit more attack off of it. I have no idea what this is going to sound like. Okay, boof can come down. Just want a little bit more of the attack, a little more of whatever's going on here. I think these are, no, curves look pretty good. Just curious. It might make it not do anything. It might make it better. All right. Gotta put, oh yeah, these samples, we gotta put these at bus 1 and 2. Okay, let's add a little bit more top end to it. Okay, just for fun, let's add one on snare as well. We'll just do it I don't want to say a lazy way. We'll just slap that over there and see what happens. And I'll just grab some presets here. Presets, again, fair game. And snare drum, we'll just copy this. Again, normally what I would do, throw X files on Walking Dead or something. And while that's happening, just going to increase this. Doesn't matter if these clip. I know some in the comments maybe say it will matter if it clips, but we're just using these as trigger points. So I don't know what this is going to sound like either. Oh, it's pretty beefy. Again, I really like the sound of the snare drum, so hopefully this doesn't ruin it for me. Okay, it's adding a little bit. It's a little bit cleaner. Okay, all my drums here. So because I've added those samples in, I need to modify that group to add in our samples here. Can bring down our toms now because they're just going to be ringing away anyways. So our toms to me sound better. I don't know what I just hit there, but something came up and I'll have to watch the game tape to figure out what that was. I'm mentally 43 minutes in. Something got changed, but I don't know what it was. So I don't know what I hit. That's Pro Tools though. Okay, I'm gonna hop out of my headphones for a couple minutes. Just want to do some balancing on my speakers, my NS10s, because there's some things I don't really know what's going on in here. So California says toms sound better. That's what we're going for. Snare sounds better. That's what we're going for. Whole kit sounds better. Good stuff. That's what I was going for. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Again, it's better to have unattended mix sessions. That is a piece of advice I could pass along. Don't let people in the room with you. Unless they're just watching it work, which is what we're doing. So I'm going to hop out of the headphones for a couple minutes. Just want to listen loudly to hear what's going on with these drums. Be right back. Okay, so did some rebalancing of the drums with those samples, and did so immediately, almost immediately, started rebalancing the bass, and still messing around with the tone from SansAmp here. I want more of like a gargly sound from it. It's hard to describe what we're going for, but that SVT sound, I know there's an SVT preset in there. Why is the box score not? There is a Leafs game. No, it's tomorrow. Never mind. April 12th. Against Buffalo Sabres. I didn't read the schedule right. That's why I play drums. Still rebalancing the bass. There's still like a tone that I'm trying to pull out of the speakers or pull out of the tracks that we have there. I mentioned several times that's what mixing is to me. It's trying to get the sound in your head to come out the speakers. So still messing around with the SansAmp there. So we have the one that's kind of the main amp that we're working with, and the other one that's kind of the distorted sound to add a little bit more fur to what's going on. Especially once we get into the chorus and stuff, sometimes you can bump that up just to add a little bit more edge to it. Guitars, there's still a couple frequencies that were jumping out at me. So I was messing around with those a little bit. You probably notice I am not shy about adding EQs. If there's more stuff that I want to get at, I'm just going to add another EQ. Between our inserts A through J, we have 10 modules we can work with. So I'm not shy about using 2 or 3 or 4 EQs to kind of get there. And I'm just using the stock Pro Tools ones. To me, they're fine. Are there better ones out there? There's definitely some smoother sounding ones out there, but at the same time, can you make a record with stock Pro Tools plugins? Yes, we can. So I haven't put the vocals back in yet. I'm not worrying about them too much. The performance is there. So when it really gets down to it, again, not that I'm trying to undersell it, but like once we get to the vocals, we can kind of figure out our tone because it is live. So there's a little bit of bleed in those vocals. But once we get to our vocals, we can kind of just add them in and see where we are from there. But I want to make the music sound as good as we can until we get to that point. Next thing I'm going to do is going to start adding some more stuff to my main mix bus here. Because that's going to have an impact on the tone of things. So add some saturation. So we'll probably go ahead and add the Abbey Road J7. I just had a lot of success with it. I've been having fun with it. So probably add that in and some wideners and other EQ and stuff. So be right back. Again, for anyone that's new, I have to mute this microphone or else the speakers and phase issues, and it's just going to sound worse. So be right back. Oh, also, this is my high risk maneuver here. I have NS10s, which I do a lot of my work on, but for a lot of my balancing, I just have a little USB portable microphone. It is plugged in to my monitor section here, but I do a lot of my balancing on that as well, just to kind of hear kick, snare, vocals, and just make sure I can always kind of hear that, because I find when that starts getting buried, then mix starts getting soft to me. So I'm bouncing back and forth constantly between listening on my NS10s and listening on that little USB speaker there. All right, be right back for realsies this time. Something's gone sideways. What I'd done is accidentally duplicated the kick drum. That's why it was pure chaos. Those toms sound pretty good to me with the triggers on them. Let's play them without and then play them with again so you can hear the difference. Hopefully you can hear the difference. Hello, Don. How's it going? Don saying, going good, late to the party. Never late to the party. I'm super early to the party. I thought there was a Leafs game on tonight, but that's on tomorrow. I was like freaking out for a second. So I'm like, why is the box score not updating? See if Matthews can get 60 on the season. Still messing around with the balance of stuff here. So I've added our we're using for saturation. It's the J37, the Abbey Road tape machine here. I think it's fun. I take it off of the link between the input and the output. So I like to kind of set my output on it because it does bring the levels down usually. And then I kind of set the inputs, a little bit of crunch from it. I don't mind the wow and flutter. The wow is kind of the pitchiness of it. I don't mind a little bit of that. The flutter is the actual volume fluctuation, so I do mind that. We don't need that, so both of those are off. And then I usually take the noise level down because we don't need that. And saturation, I'll just kind of turn that up for a little bit of crunch too. Because, yeah, I know we want really clean recordings, but real talk, there's tons of distortion all over the place these days in modern recording. So, well, for rock stuff in particular, there's lots of saturation that's going on there. So, brought that up as well. Going to bring the vocals in soon and just have a listen to where that's at. A little bit nervous to bring vocals in because, it can make it good or it could really expose some of the things that are going on with your mix. So, yeah, be right back. Oh, I'm happier with the bass now. We added in one of the original bass amps and it was sounding pretty good, and there's still a little bit of edge I had from the distorted Sans amp track that's there, so I'm happy with what it's doing. I feel like it's anchored a little bit better over here, so be right back. 58 and counting. Indeed.
To see yourselves, take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. You wait to see yourselves, take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. You wait to see yourselves, take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. You wait to see yourselves, take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. You wait to see yourselves, take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. You wait to see yourselves, take happier pills to. You wait to see yourselves, take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. Never ever heard what you said. Can't you see yourselves? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding your mind. Can't you sweep this shit to the side? Well, it's so fucking nice to have you here to turn our lives from what we fear. Sometimes you're worthless and we get alone. Will you ever grow? Well, here I am, I want to help you out. Can't you see yourself? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding your mind. And you won't believe when this cloud lifts on what you might find. You find it's all over you now. You wait to see yourselves, take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. Never ever heard a word you said. Can't you see yourselves? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding you. Man, can't you sweep this shit to the side? Well, it's so fucking nice to have you here. You wait to see yourself. Take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. You wait to see yourselves. Take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. Never ever heard what you said. Can't you see yourselves? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding you. Man, can't you sweep to the side? Well, it's so fucking nice to have you here to turn our lives from what we fear. Sometimes you're worthless and we get alone. Will you ever grow? You wait to see yourself. Take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. Never ever heard what you said. Can't you see yourselves? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding you. Man, can't you sweep this shit to the side? Well, it's so fucking nice to have you here to turn our lives from what we fear. But sometimes you're worthless and we get alone. Will you ever grow? Well, here I am, I wanna help you out. Can't you see yourself? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding you. Man, you won't believe when this ground lifts on what you might find. You find it's all over you now. Can't you see it's all over this face that stares back at you? Stares back at you from your happy pills. They won't keep you well tonight. You wait to see yourselves. Take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. Never ever heard what you said. Can't you see yourselves? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding you. Man, can't you sweep this shit to the side? Well, it's so fucking nice to have you here to turn our lives from what we fear. Sometimes you're worthless and we get alone. Will you ever grow? Here I am, I wanna help you out. Can't you see yourself? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab. See yourselves. Take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. Never ever heard what you said. Can't you see yourselves? Can't
John's asking, I cheated a little this time. Listen to the band original when he belts it out. Its vocal sound way raspier. Well, if you're listening to the studio version, then yeah, it's probably pretty different. This is the live record, a live recorded version. I have not listened to said recorded version. Well,
Wait to see yourselves. Take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. Never the words. Can't you see yourselves? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding you. Man, can't you sweep this shit to the side? Well, it's so fucking nice to have you here to turn our lives from what we fear. Sometimes you're alone. Will you ever grow? Here I am, I wanna help you out. Can't you see yourself? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding you. You won't believe when this ground lifts on what you might find. You find it's all over you now. Can't you see it's all over this place? Stares back at you, stares back at you from your happy pills. They won't keep you well tonight.
I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip.
There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding you. Mind if you won't believe when this crowd lifts on what you might find. You find it's all over you now. You got it all over you now. You got it all over this place that stands back from these. These happy pills, they won't keep you well tonight. Not tonight. Now. Wait to see yourself. Happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you to hear yourselves screaming out loud. Never ever the words you said. Can't you see yourselves? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a stab at all that's surrounding you. Man, can't you sweep this shit to the side? Well, it's so fucking nice to have you here to turn our lives from what we fear. Sometimes you're worthless and we get low.
Okay, I'm gonna hop back in the headphones for a little bit. So again, I've been bouncing back and forth between my NS10s, past the studio monitors, one with the white cones on them, you know them to see them, and my little $60 USB speaker here. 60 USD, $100 Canadian. So yeah, I just want to take a break to go back into the headphones. So I'm still just messing around with some balancing. As you can see, the name of my session, we're still in mix prep as far as I'm concerned. I'm liking the way guitars are sitting. Again, I can always move them up, move them down a little bit, but I'm liking the EQ overall. Still just a couple frequencies I'm trying to carve. Usually there's a couple things between 1 and 4K that I can notch out, and then I can turn my guitars up louder because those harsh frequencies for me are no longer bugging me. Overall bass tone, fairly happy with it. It's sat better maybe 15 minutes ago, and then you start picking at things and things start to sound a little bit different. I'm liking the drums a lot now. Main thing is adding those triggers onto the toms to add the attack, but also just a little bit overall brightness. Pultex, that to me, that's the go-to just for boosting top end. It just seems to be pretty, I'm going to say silky on my end. Again, you don't really have high frequencies on NS10, so it just kind of is what it is over here. And then with our main mix bus, our 2 mix bus here, just a couple notches here. But I'm constantly throwing it in bypass. I'm constantly A-Bing between 2 with it on and with it off. And then if it's sounding better to me with it off, then I usually start again, and then I'll figure out a couple frequencies I want to cut. So there's that. Saturation, we're using the J37, using the tape machine there, and then center just to widen it a little bit. It also just pushes at the sides, and usually it pushes at the guitars in rock music. And I haven't done anything on the actual limiter yet. I haven't brought that down. Vocal's not bugging me. There's a background vocal over here. I'm going to assume they're on that side. If they're not, just the difference between the monitors and the headphones. Like even in the headphones, it doesn't even bug me. We'll leave that for now. There's a couple other technical things I wanted to go for. Well, we're an hour and a half in already. Where does the time go? The joys of mixing music. Again, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. And again, you can find these tracks and more at Cambridge Music Technology. The link is below if you're watching this on YouTube. And you are a new mixer or experienced mixer. I think there's lots of fantastic... it's a fantastic resource. There's lots of reasons to open these sessions up to have a look-see. So a couple technical things I want to do. One thing for sure, once we get over here, that nice, because there's effects and stuff on it, what I want to do is just highlight this section. And again, I think it's important to take hearing breaks, like take ear breaks, listening breaks. That's what not hearing breaks, listening breaks. If you have selective hearing, it's amazing. You can take listening breaks all the time. But take listening breaks I would say every 2-3 hours. Just get away from the speakers 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Going outside, I think, works wonders. Taking naps works wonders. But sometimes I'll leave technical things when I can take a bit of a break, like right now. So I don't need to listen very critically to what I'm doing right now. So I'm just going to go. So this is our lead vocal here. Nice. Like, I don't want the effects on that. I want that to be kind of an ad lib and just off to the side. So I'm going to go to where our effects are. So again, I don't name my buses. So I just usually use 9 is my short delay, 10 is my long delay, and 11 is my main reverb. So I'll just go through and select. So 9's our short delay, go to mute, and I can just use the trimmer tool and just bring that down. And right now what it's going to do is when we get there, it's going to automate it and just mute that. So same thing on the long delay, same thing on that reverb there.
Keep you well tonight. Nice.
All bypassed and all back to normal. Is it going to make a big difference? Will this buy you a house? Probably not, but
Keep you well tonight. Nice.
we could maybe leave the reverb on. You can just highlight it, delete it. That's fine. This section, I want to treat this differently as well. So maybe let's, and there also this guitar off the top. There's a couple times when the guitars, I think we could pan them in a little bit. I'm happy we're there. Normally, again, just not what you could do or what you should do, what you could do. Normally I keep my guitars pretty much panned all the way. I might put them at like 72 on either side and then use center to push them out the rest of the way. But I'm finding too much separation on them. The way the performances are, like they're really defined. So I kind of bring them back a little bit and then center can kind of push everything out a little bit. But off the top, when this kick drum comes in, when that kick drum comes in, I added the effects on the guitars too, just because I'm a rebel. When that kick drum comes in, that's when I want to snap that guitar back to where it should be. So right off the top here, and what I'll do, just because we're going to be fancy about it, I'm just going to bring it back a little bit, and we'll go to pan, and we'll just use our trimmer tool and bring this up. So it doesn't need to be in the middle. Like again, this is not going to get you the Grammy, but just kind of bring a little bit more into the middle to set it up. That way, when the band comes in, the theory is hopefully it'll kind of open up a little bit, or what I refer to in my musical mind is it blossoms a little bit. Child, 27 years old. I buy that. Okay, this one over here. What's this one doing? I'm already not liking the delay that's on that. This one too, maybe we can bring this in a little bit. Go to pan. We'll just have a guitar pan party here for a little bit. I'll bring. I think 15. Good. 15 and 20. I like that. Don says guitars sound nice and dirty. Thank you. Maybe we'll kind of pan it. That's too much. It's too much. I can buy that. We don't really have a tempo on this. So let's go back to here. So we'll use this kick drum again. We'll put it on tab transient just to make life easier for everybody. And we'll just go up there to know where we are. And we'll just put our little marker there. And what are we at? We're at 35 right now. Can't you see yourself? You said, can't you see yourselves? Can't you I can buy that. We fear. Sometimes you're worthless and nice to have. So same thing here. See if we can just pan this, and Again, if all this stuff sounds terrible tomorrow, then, or the next session that you sit down and work on it, you just undo it. All this stuff is non-destructive, which is a technical term for you can make mistakes.
Nice to have you here to turn our lives from. I wanna help you out. Can't you see your? Can't you?
And same thing, we'll just go down to that one. And we'll just bring that down. Let's not have that on grid mode. That's not going to help anybody. And bring it back down to 35 again.
So fucking nice to have you.
Sorry, I had grid mode on that one as well.
So fucking nice.
It's a good thing I have excellent eyesight. He said sarcastically.
Nice to have. Nice.
Okay, that's where we are. Let's put our marker in there. If you're in grid mode, it's going to snap to the grid. If you're in slip mode, it's not. So we want this to kind of fade down to 35. That looks good. That looks like it'll sound decent.
Fucking nice to have you here to turn our lives from what keep you well tonight.
So this one too, we can do the same thing on this one. We'll bring this one. I think we were bringing this one to 15. And we can probably bring that there. It's going to be fine. And this. So bring this one in a little bit more. I try not to do too much panning where people are going to go, wow, that's really moving, unless that's what we're trying to do. Same thing over here. Okay, we might be able to just copy and paste this automation from here, this panning. And let's drop that there. It's looking close. Looking real close. There we go. Again, I'm not precious about this stuff. Okay, so I'm liking that. Again, it's my show, so I can do what I want here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is there's a little section here where there's the spoken word thing. I want to filter that out quite a bit and make it its own kind of moment. So let's just go ahead and duplicate our lead vocal track here, and we'll take off the active, and we'll take off automation. We'll leave group assignments on, we'll leave inserts on. And we'll just kind of build on it so it's empty right now. And we'll just call this bridge without the vowels. Vowels get lots of airtime. It's consonants. We want to try to get those in there.
I'll be the one to shut it. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip.
So we want to get this section. So I'm going to hit B to kind of split that. I'm going to hit Command C to copy it, and then semicolon to drop that down, and I'm going to go up and mute that. So we're just separating this spot here. Actually, there's a bit of a breath in and in breathing in. Just want to get a little bit of that, but I can fade that out.
Hold you under every time I see you.
So I want to filter this quite a bit. I'm gonna bypass all the effects that are on it right now.
I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip.
Maybe add some modulation,
I'll be the one that holds you under every time
some wiggle sauce to it.
I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder.
See what chorus is gonna do.
Every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip.
Could sound bad. It could sound kind of cool, but this is what we do. We try stuff.
I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip.
A lot of syllables on it.
Every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip. I'll be the one to watch.
Could be something. Could be nothing.
I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip.
Could be something.
I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip.
It's got such good control of that rasp. I love it. Too crazy. Wrong decade. Probably thin out that background vocal a little bit more.
These happy pills, they won't keep you well tonight.
I just usually throw my de-esser on my main vocal subgroup. And then near the end of the mix, I'll kind of fuss with it a little bit. You can put your de-essers on all your vocal tracks. It's a very normal way to do that. I just find I just need to kind of knock down a few frequencies. So I just kind of throw de-esser on there. And again, I'm not precious about these.
I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip.
Dance back
Still fussing with that bass. I know what I want it to sound like. I know we can get it there.
I'll be the one who wants you to shudder. I'll be the one who holds you under every time I see you slip.
There's more to the way that you lie. So you take a step back on that surrounding you. And you won't believe when this crowd lifts on what you might find. You find it's over you now. You got it all over you now. You got it all over this place that stands back from these. These hot pills, they won't keep you well tonight. Not tonight. No.
All right, there's a moment there. I'm going to have a listen through. We're almost 2 hours, and that just flew by. That flew by as far as fussing around with this a little bit, but that's what mixing can do. You can spend a whole day before you know it, just moving faders around and trying stuff. So I'm going to listen from the top and kind of see where we're at, because it might be a good place to leave off until Thursday at 7 p.m. Don says, can you dirty up the bass even more? I'm kind of back and forth on it. There's kind of an SVT bass rig sound that sounds good and works for a lot of rock stuff, but there's an edge that I'm still kind of missing. So I'm still kind of fighting with it. I've been back and forth on it, what I've been doing with it. So I'm going to hop out of the headphones and just listen from the top and just move things around a little bit more, and maybe leave it there for tonight. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a third hour. Just checking something. Maybe we'll do a third hour. I probably won't, though. So I do have a bit more work to do tonight. All right, be right back.
Sometimes you wait to see yourself. Take happier pills to keep you well. Sometimes you talk to hear yourselves screaming out loud. Never ever heard what you said. Can't you see yourselves? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a step back on that surrounding you. Can't you sweep this shit to the side where it's so fucking nice to have you here, to turn our lives from what we fear. Sometimes you're worthless and we get alone. Will you ever grow? Here I am, I wanna help you out. Can't you see yourself? Can't you understand? There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a step back on that surrounding you. You won't believe when this crowd lifts on what you might find. Find it's all over you now. This face that stares back at you, stares back at you from your happy pills. They won't keep you well tonight.
I'll be the one to watch you shudder. I'll be the one that holds you under every time I see you slip.
There's more truth in the way that you lie. So you take a step back on that surrounding you.
Okay, I can tell by hopping out of the headphones back to the speakers and back to the headphones. I can tell some of the things I want to address with fresh ears next time. I'm still fine with the guitars, but like this is what guitars kind of sound like. So just trying to figure out a couple of the frequencies I need to kind of tame from those. Soothes helping a little bit, but not as much. Just kind of checking some other presets there to see if it's kind of getting rid of the things I don't like. But when it was sounding good, the headphones sounding good on the speakers. There's things I want to change in the headphones, and it was sounding good on the headphones. Excuse me, a little bit of dinner's coming up. It was sounding good in the headphones. It wasn't sounding good in the speakers. So I'm just kind of trying to find that balance. But I know what it's going to sound like at the little USB speaker here. So I think that is where I'm going to leave things off for this evening. So we did a few things today. We added the triggers for the toms, which I think helps the drums quite a bit, especially with those drum fills going across the kit. Helps quite a bit. And then the automation we did on the guitars just to bring them into the middle. And a lot of rebalancing tonight. Again, it's like that to me can be 60 or 70% of the time. It's just pushing things around. Not pushing them around the plate in a like not knowing what to do thing, but just kind of pushing things around, just kind of getting a feel for stuff. I rebalance stuff all the time, and I'd be very, very surprised if that's not the first thing I do on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when we're back here. When we get back here, it's just mute the guitars, the drums, and vocals, and just rebalance things again, just kind of hear where things are at. So I like the drums overall. Didn't even use a back bus or any parallel compression on that one because it was sounding fine to me. Maybe we'll do that next time just to kind of hear if it's adding something to it, but I think the drums are sounding all right. Sometimes you can use decapitator or some type of saturation on the drum bus as well, and that can help kind of bring things out. But like overall, I thought it was sounding pretty good. So I think that's kind of where we're at right now, and hopefully Thursday we're in a position where I think it's sounding pretty good, and then probably I'll do like maybe a shorter episode the fun next week on the Monday where we're just going over making a clean version of this for anyone that needs help with that. Again, the easiest way to make a clean version of a song is to not put any sentence enhancers in your lyrics. But should you need to have it, should you need to have those, it's always good to have a clean version of what's going on. Remember to back up your sessions. Remember to back them up. Shift Command U, Shift Command B, get rid of any unused regions. And then you go into save copy in all audio files. That's what you want to do. So you can save it. Run your backups. So think that is it. Don saying, thanks, Mike. I'll listen back what I missed earlier. It's all good. Don, I appreciate it. I think it's fantastic that you're finding interest in this, and hopefully it's entertaining and educational for you as well to see what kind of goes on behind the scenes sometimes, because not everybody knows all the things that can be going on. The blessing, the curse that is mixing. It's really enjoyable, but also it can be quite the task sometimes when you're trying to get, again, the sound that's in your head to come out of the speakers. That's what we're trying to do here. And you can fight with that in an 8-hour period in total. You can fight with that for 6.5 hours and finally get to a point where you're like, no, this is sounding the way that I wanted it to sound. So next time, remember, Mix Prep 5. Mix Prep 5 is what I'm going to open. I haven't even got to my normal reference naming convention right now. We're not there yet. I know what I want it to sound like, and we're not there yet. Again, we've been working on Happy Pills from the band Candlebox this evening. Where did I get this? So it did not work on this session, but again, there's a website called Cambridge Music Technology. All the multi-tracks are there, tons of different genres, fantastic resource for aspiring mixers and veteran mixers. There's tons of stuff on there to mess around with. Also, if you're an engineer, fantastic resource to be able to look at the tracking and see hear what things sounded like in different levels and just ways of running production. So wish I had that when I was a youngin', but we have it now. Better late than never. Once again, my name is Mike Langford, recording engineer, music producer, mixer based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And this has been Let's Mix Live, where we live stream some mix sessions in Pro Tools, start to finish, warts and all, showing you not what you should do, but what you could do. If you want to help support the channel, remember to like and subscribe. And if you're in a band or an artist, drop a link down below. And also, if you're on that site, there's a song that you want me to feature and work on for a little bit. Send me the name of it either down below or send me an email. So, all right, thanks for checking this out, everybody. I will see you back here 7 p.m. on Thursday Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be hopefully getting this to a point where I'm feeling good about it, because there's still some things that need to work on. So, all right, have a good rest of your evening, everybody. Talk to you later. Almost timed it.